Yeah. So in this lesson, basically we were learning about all the different ideas which were generated by the Britishers for collecting land revenue. Because land revenue was something which would provide money to the East India Company for them to do their work in India, and their main work was normally getting spices, getting cotton, getting all the things that they required for importing, exporting, and send it to Europe for developing of the finished goods. So the land revenue system started mainly from Bengal, and then it's slowly spread out to different parts of India. There were ideas like the permanent settlement, then the Mahalwari system. All these ideas had come out for developing the land revenue and collecting land revenue from farmers. Now, in the middle of all this, there was a crop which is called as the indigo crop. Now, this indigo crop is a crop which is used for coloring cloth. The plant which gives a indigo flower, these flowers are taken and that color is extracted from that flower, and it is used for dyeing the cloths with the indigo color. So this had a lot of huge demand in Europe. So what the Britishers started doing is they started forcing farmers to grow this indigo plant on their farms because of the huge demand in Europe. These Britishers, they could export that and they could make a lot of money. So for growing this indigo on the fields also there were a few different systems. One was the niche system and one was the Rayoti system. In the niche system, the farmer himself would do the farming in his land, and in the Rayoti system, the zamindar would get farmers from outside to do the farming on their land. So these were all the different things that we have learned in this lesson till now. Now, once this, so everyone is up to date with whatever we have learned up till now in this lesson. Anybody has any doubts?
No, sir.
Okay. Okay. Good. 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 Okay. So now going ahead in this, just a little bit small part is left in this lesson. Now, once all these farmers in India, majority of the farmers in India were under the pressure to grow indigo. This indigo crop, had one big problem. Indigo crop had one big problem. Yes, there was good demand for it. The farmers and the Britishers would be making good amount of money. More Britishers would make good amount of money. Not the farmers would not make that much amount of money. The problem here was this indigo had to be cultivated the same time that how much why you people are doing it here. This indigo had to be cultivated the same time when rice also had to be cultivated. And once this indigo would be cultivated, put in the land, the indigo plant had very, very deep roots. The roots of this indigo plant were very deep. And in fact, what would happen is it would take a lot of nutrition from that soil. So once one crop of indigo is done on that soil, grown on that soil, the soil would lose a lot of its fertility. So the next crop that you put, either you put cotton or you put rice, if you put on that land, the rice would not grow properly. So that was a big problem for the farmers. The soil would lose its fertility. So slowly, more and more farmers they started opposing this growth, this growing of indigo. They did not want to grow indigo because their land was in trouble. Their land was in danger of losing the fertility. So there started something which was called as a blue rebellion. It is called as blue rebellion because blue is again the color which indigo plant gives, and rebellion because the farmers started fighting against this, forcing them for growing the indigo. They started fighting against them. So this is the blue rebellion. Thousands of riots in Bengal refused to grow indigo in March 1859. The riots refused to pay rents to the planters. They attacked indigo factories. They used to be armed with swords and spears, bows and arrows. Women also fought with pots, kitchen implements. Those who worked for the planters were socially boycotted. The Gomasthas are people who look after the cows and buffaloes in the fields, were beaten up when they came to collect the rent. The Gomastas were the agents of the indigo planters. So here, slowly we are seeing from Bengal itself this blue rebellion where the farmers started fighting back. They did not want to grow this indigo. They were being forced to grow indigo, and so they started fighting back, telling that no, we will no longer grow this indigo. In many villages, headmen mobilized the indigo peasants against the Lathials. Lathials are again like big gundas there who hold big lathis, big huge sticks for beating people. Hmm. The headmen were angry because they had been forced to sign indigo contract. Some zamindars were angry with the increasing power of the planters and had been forced to give them land on long leases. Now these farmers, the land on which they were growing the indigo, this was given on rent for very long periods of time. The rent would be given in advance for 2 years, 3 years. So for continuously for 2 3 years, that farmer was forced to plant indigo, nothing else. This was the problem which we were facing. So some zamindars also supported the villagers in their revolt against the indigo planters. After the revolt of 1857, this revolt of 1857, you would have might have already learned in your lower classes. In this class also, we'll be learning the next chapter that is there. The British government was worried about the possibility of another popular rebellion. When the news of Indigo revolt spread, the lieutenant governor toured the region in winter of 1859. This was seen as a sign of sympathy by the riots. They began to believe that the British government would support them in their struggle. So what happened was, once the farmers started fighting back, once the peasants started fighting back, the British government got worried. They got afraid. They got scared. They thinking that again one more rebellion will start. Again the people of India will start trying to remove us from this country. So let us be careful. Let us start finding out what the problem is. When the rebellion spread, intellectuals from Calcutta rushed to the indigo districts. They began writing about the misery of the riots and the horrors of the indigo system. So everywhere throughout India, in all the different places, there were lots of protests against this growing of indigo. Nobody was happy with the usage or growing of this indigo, and there was a lot of support for the farmers also against growing indigo. The government called in the military to protect the planters. The military also was called because the fighting was at a very height. The Indigo Commission was set up to inquire into the system of indigo production. The commission held the planters guilty. It asked the riots to fulfill their existing obligations, and then they were free to cultivate whatever they wished. So what the government did was they appointed few people. They appointed a few people. Why are students joining so late? This class starts at 10:35. Now it is 10:48, 10:50. Why are students joining so late? What is the problem? What is it, Omkar? Adarsh is what? Okay. So as I was saying, the government, they appointed a few people to find out what the problem was. Why is there so much of fighting and rebellion going on in the country against this indigo? Now these people, they went around and they start asking the farmers what is the issue, what is the problem with growing indigo. The farmers told them their problems. The farmers told them that these are the problems that we are facing. We are being forced to cultivate indigo, even though we do not wish to grow indigo. So ultimately, the government decided, they told that it is fine, whatever contract you have signed, please complete that contract, and then in the future, you are free of that. You no longer have to grow indigo in your fields. So, this was the decision which was taken and given to the farmers. So the picture in front of you is how a indigo factory actually looked like, wherein very poor laborers would work for very less wages. This is how indigo factory was. So now what happened after the revolt for indigo? The indigo production collapsed in Bengal after the revolt. So the production of indigo in Bengal totally came to a stop. It collapsed. The planters now shifted their operation to Bihar. Discovery of synthetic dyes in the late 19th century severely affected the business, but the planters managed to expand production. In the 19th century, late 19th century, there was a lot of scientific advancement, a lot of scientific progress, and people were able to manufacture synthetic color. This indigo color now became a synthetic color which no longer required the production of or growing of the indigo crop. So with that, the demand for indigo crop slowly came down and the synthetic color increased. When Mahatma Gandhi returned from South Africa, the plight of indigo farmers in Champaran was brought to his notice. Mahatma Gandhi visited Champaran in 1917 and began the movement against the indigo planters. So Mahatma Gandhi also in the year 1917, this is one of his first movements which he took up when he came back to India from South Africa. The fight, the movement of the farmers in Champaran in the year 1917. Okay, so here is a photo of the indigo plant. Can you see this beautiful purple color flower in front of your screens?
Yes, sir.
Sir,
Ah, so that is how beautiful this indigo flower is, and the deep blue color it gives to the cloth. The flower is removed from that plant. It is crushed and extracted. That color is extracted from that, and it is used for coloring the different types of cloth. Right. So this was the end of the chapter of third chapter, that is colonial and agrarian
Yes,
policies.
sir.
Right. So
yes, sir.
does anybody have any doubts in
No,
this lesson?
sir.
Nobody has any doubts. You are very clever children, all of
No,
you.
sir.
Huh? Either everybody has understood everything or everybody has not understood anything. So I am assuming